scrap it or sell it and then just start again somewhere else.
I can't talk about that. I'm sorry. That is so not where I'm at.
I can't talk about.
I cannot even.
I can't talk anymore about reconciliation.
It's difficult some days. There's days when I just feel like the idiot that doesn't know how to let it go.
Rob and I are really kind of in a struggling place.
Probably doing the worst we've ever done in our marriage. It's been tough. It's been tough between us.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, September 16th, 2024. Kody Brown and Robyn Brown, the last couple standing of sister wives, their marriage is breaking down, or at least it appears as so on the storyline, because Kody cannot get over his own ego. He cannot get over the rejection, and he seemingly admits that Robyn's fawning over him and constant adoration of him isn't enough to prove to him that he's a good guy. He needs more supply, more ego stroking, and more women to fawn over him. Now that he's been rejected by 3 women, he's not convinced that Robyn really loves him, or at least that's what he says. Kody's erratic and belligerent and ridiculous behavior was on display, and Robyn Brown actually looked a tad bit sympathetic, although I will say she did this to herself. Kody's last marriage standing is on the verge of a breakup. So let's dive into what happened in season 19, episode 1 of Sister Wives.
Kody's feeling a lot of rejection. And so I think he's kind of looking at me going, are you going to reject me too? And so I'm on my toes. I'm having to consistently make sure that he is not sabotaging our relationship. And I miss the family experience. And now with this thing with Mary, it's made it even worse and harder. I just keep kind of crossing my fingers that Janelle will decide to stick it out and figure it out with Kody.
This is hard for me because I know that she says these words. I know she says she misses her sister wives. She misses the camaraderie she had with them. She misses the family. But I also think, like, when was the last time they were all a family? It's been years. So what are you really mourning? It's been years, a long time, like almost 10, since they've really functioned as a family. Once the kids started getting older and going their own way, they separated. And when Kody and Robyn were in Vegas, they were constantly together all the time. He basically treated her like his only wife. So it's like you miss the staged interactions you had with these women that you had on the show. You miss your trips that you went on, but then you liked the benefits of having Kody all the time. There's this like there's this issue I have with Robyn where it's like her words don't match her actions. Like I never saw her actually trying to go out of her way to do anything for these women. She came in very entitled and expected everyone to bend to her. And now she misses them. And now she wants him to get back with Janelle after she spent how long trying to keep Kody away from Janelle and her boys because his boys weren't safe for Robyn. Now she wants Janelle back, but she doesn't like Janelle's kids. She told Janelle's kids she didn't want to have the Christmas exchange with them. So to me, it's like, what is she actually mourning? I know money is a factor. I get that. Is it the whole religious side where she's feeling a depression that her plan of being a plural wife didn't work out? It's very hard for me. And Kody doesn't trust her and he's like trying to sabotage the relationship and she thinks she can fix it, but she can't.
There's no resource to help with the idea that I'm still married to a man who's going through divorces.
I love Robyn and she's dear to me and I respect her dearly. Her telling me I'm still good is valuable to me. I want to give it more credibility, but I've had 3 other people basically blame me. It's just not that easy. It's like I've gone through an entire experience.
I think what was really noticeable to me about Kody in this episode was just how much he admits to being a narcissist. Like he admits that he needs external validation to tell him he's a good person, external supply to feed his ego and make him feel good about himself. Otherwise, he can't feel good about himself. He needs everyone around him to worship him, or he is unable to feel good. And he's like depressed because three women have rejected him and are blaming him for all of his failures and for the family breaking up. And really, it's his narcissism that's breaking it up. And he's admitting that he's going to allow his narcissism to break up his relationship with Robyn because even Robyn loving him isn't enough. Like, there's never enough. There's never enough love. There's never enough sex. There's never enough adoration. There's never enough worship. He has been this ego driven maniac trying to fill some sort of hole in his life. It reminds me of someone who is an active substance abuse user, like that is trying to fill a void. It's like his void of supply and need to feel good is all dependent on other people. He's such a fragile person at his core. It's disturbing.
Being so angry that I can't look myself in the mirror and say, hey, dude, I love you. And I can't go to God and say, hey, help me through this mess. I do. But my prayers aren't the same kind of prayers they used to be when I was like, gee, thank you for this beautiful family. The divorce has put me in, I'll be honest, a pretty dark place. I've spent a lot of time hearing Christine and Janelle berate me in ways that have challenged my resolve for sort of love of myself.
Listen, breakups are always more than one person's fault, okay? Any relationship that breaks down, you can never say it's all Christine's fault or all Kody's fault, right? But the problem here is that it was Kody's behavior that became so difficult for these women to navigate. He started neglecting their children, he started neglecting them. He was demanding they obey him and do whatever he wanted. They were not allowed to have a say. They were forced to work and give him basically all of their money. In many ways, he treated them like property instead of humans. You know, it's ironic because in the tell all, he said that Janelle didn't see his humanity, but he didn't see their humanity because at no place in any of this is there any acknowledgement that he told Christine for years that he wasn't attracted to her at all. And he regretted marrying her and that he only married her for status. Literally. I mean, imagine, Kody, what you did to Christine when you made those kinds of comments. Or when you told Janelle that she was the Teflon queen, that she was lazy, that she didn't adhere to your rules, that she needed to bow down to patriarchy, or when you didn't spend any time or effort trying to find her housing or yelling and degrading her children, diminishing their self-esteem to nothing, making these boys feel completely rejected by their father. And yet you're the victim of them finally speaking public, no longer hiding your bad behavior, no longer enabling your narcissism and abuse, and showing the world who you are. You've been exposed. And what you're dealing with right now, Kody, is guilt and shame. But instead of being able to accept your role, you have to point fingers. And it's like, now even Robyn isn't good enough. He is going to completely destroy every aspect of his life because part of me thinks that he will throw everyone out because honestly, it'll be hard to trust anyone. Their relationship, Kody and Robyn's, will now be the source of destruction. It'll be the source of pain for him. It won't give him the same kind of supply that he needs. He needs someone shiny and new without the baggage. That's just my opinion.
Just the failure of the experience that was everything on my goals. Now, failures happen, and I'm going to grow up, and I'm going to put on my big boy panties. I'm going to get through this. You know that I am. Oh, but it was like the dream of Camelot. You know, it's like we had this dream, and, you know, a whisper might have blown it away, but we strengthened, we got strong, and then it just fell to. And it's very sad to me.
I think it would have been better for Kody if he would have just admitted when he met Robyn that he didn't want to live in polygamy anymore. Frankly, I think it would have just been better if he would have been honest with Janelle, Christine, and Mary that he was burnt out from having to manage so many different relationships and having to deal with so many different kids. That's not an easy task. And that he wanted to just ride off into the sunset with his upgraded diesel gene model. That's sarcasm. And that he was done. It would have been healthier for them, healthier for his kids, healthier for everyone. but he couldn't do that. And he says it's because of his faith. He said in this episode that he didn't have a choice. He couldn't leave any of his wives. So his way of getting rid of his wives was to mistreat them. So he felt stuck in polygamy, but then he mistreated everyone, and now he's going to play the victim and say that he didn't have a choice. I think the reality of the situation is, and I've said this before a million different times, is that I think Kody, before the show was on the air, had a different control over these women because they were so poor. And I think that they were so still in their faith, insulated from the outside world and isolated, and they were unable to have any interaction with anyone that would tell them that the way that they're living is wrong. And he had so much control over that, so much power in that dynamic, that when they became famous and he got all the attention that he finally wanted, those same women got exposed to a world that told them they didn't have to settle for the way he treated them and there was a way out. So he wanted the fame, he wanted the money, he wanted everyone to say, "What a great guy. He's the most amazing polygamist out there. Look at my harem." But that same drive and need for attention and being viewed as a success and praised and worship is what ultimately drives the family apart and into the ground because he can't get over himself. And the women shouldn't have to be forced to put up with his abuse. If they would have stayed in the cult and not gone on the show, I'm sure they would still all be together, honestly, because they would have no way of knowing that this wasn't acceptable. But this show actually pushed them out the door. And so for that, I'm grateful. And Kody playing the victim and doing this unhinged, creepy crying and acting like he somehow is mourning this, you'll never convince me that he's actually mourning his family. He's mourning the control and he's mourning the power and he's mourning the blow to his ego. This episode is really weird to watch because Kody isn't involved at all in Janelle and Christine's lives anymore. So he's watching video of them doing things and he has no clue that these things happened. Like his daughter Isabel, the same one that he neglected her surgery and made Christine pay for, she's moving from North Carolina back to Utah to live in Salt Lake near Christine and go to University of Utah. And Kody has absolutely no clue that Isabel's moving. Like, that's how disconnected he is from Isabel. He has no idea that she's moving cross country. And he's floored that Janelle would be helping with this move. And then he blames the fact that he's not involved in the big picture because he's not married to them anymore. And, the women, it's their responsibility to take care of the kids and their relationship with the kids is on the mom. He's now blaming that lack of interest in his own daughter and his own child on not being married. Like his responsibility to his kids is not his own. It's always the parents, the woman's responsibility. Like it's obvious that he is such a deadbeat dad and that the only reason he has a relationship with Robyn's kids is because she's the one facilitating it, really. Honestly, at this point he has nothing to do with his kids. And there's a point here where Janelle actually reveals that Maddie wants nothing to do with him. So he's not only throwing away his marriage with Robyn, but he's throwing away his relationship with his kids because it's too hard for him. It's too hard for him to cope. He's such a baby. And at no time does he even think about what he's done to anyone, how his behavior has impacted his children. No concept that he's the one. He's the common denominator in all of this pain. Him. And he refuses to acknowledge anyone's pain but himself, not even Robyn's.
I know that Maddie has not had any conversations with her dad. She's not called him. She doesn't have any relationship with Robyn. She's pretty much written them both off. She doesn't really want him to have any contact unless he can commit to like a consistent presence.
Let's talk about Maddie.
I won't talk about her.
You won't?
Nope.
I know he's in a very angry and hurt place, but he should just be putting in the effort. But I think the kids should be doing the same thing too.
Numerous times in this very first episode, he shut down the producers and refused to answer questions. There was aspects of his relationship with Mary and things that he said about Mary and her frustrations with him that he would refuse to discuss or even address. He, when confronted with feedback that was not positive to him or something that he had done or wanting to understand what happened, he refused to go there. It was like he can't handle any negativity. Like, unless you're kissing his ass, he refuses to speak about it. And here's the thing, Madison has been pretty outspoken on her social media that she did a podcast and she basically said that her dad's mental health is unpredictable, unstable, and she does not recognize who he is. He's angry, he's out of control, and I mean, she basically said he's unstable. And she doesn't feel like it's wise to expose her children to his behavior when he can't commit to actually having a relationship with them. You know, seeing someone once a year and showing up as a grandpa once a year, she doesn't want to do that to her children. She wants people in her children's lives that will be consistent in their lives, not someone that's just going to come and go as they please and only come on his terms. She wants people that want to be involved in her kids' lives, not want to do it for the sake of looking like he's a good grandpa or a good dad, not for a photo op. Like, unless he can really consistently show up, she's not interested. And unless he can get his behavior under control, she's not interested. And I think she's told him that. I don't know if they've had a conversation recently, but he refuses to address that because, again, he would be forced to acknowledge the fact that it's his unstable behavior, his irrational behavior, his abusive behavior that has driven his child to putting up a no boundary, no contact place. And Robyn, who's Miss Therapy mom and always about anti abuse, doesn't seem to understand or care that the kids don't want to be around their abuser and don't want their kids around their abuser. And it should never fall on the kids, frankly. And if a child puts up a boundary and says, I don't want you in my life, I think the parent needs to respect that. If a child wants to be no contact, they have a right to be no contact. And Maddie has said it's better for her mental health and it's better for her kids that they not be involved in that life and involved with that person. And they said that they don't even really recognize him. They don't know who he is. They don't know who Robyn is. And she's okay with that. She doesn't want to have what she went through as a child to be repeated with her own kids. So Maddie in many ways is breaking cycles with her dad by cutting him off. But again, Kody's like, no, I don't want to talk about that. So no accountability. Watching the episode, it made me realize that it's not surprising to me that his kids have cut him off or don't talk to him. I mean, I think even if Kody did reach out to his kids, his mental illness or his mental health, whatever is going on with him, has gotten so bad that he is very unwell. And unless I think he gets help, and I don't think he'll get help because he's a narcissist and he probably doesn't think there's anything wrong with him. I mean, frankly, when you listen to him talk, it's everyone else's fault. So, what's the point of having someone in your life that only wants to be there when it benefits them, will only talk to you if you call them, doesn't want to have any contact with you unless you cater to him and worship him? And then if something goes wrong and he does something to you, he's going to blame you. It's not safe for anyone. And for Robyn, she might think that she can, fix him and they can have this amazing marriage, but Kody is Kody. Robyn will never be enough. Robyn's kids will never be enough. Robyn will end up getting the wrath of Kody. I don't know if we'll see that this season, but their marriage will not survive because Kody is on a serious like downward path of destruction, and I don't think he's gonna be satisfied until everything is ruined and he can just like be rid of all of this so that he doesn't have to think about the failure and he can start something fresh and new that doesn't remind him that he was a piece of crap. He wants to reinvent himself as someone else, and I think that's why, because he doesn't want to deal with the failure. Frankly, I wouldn't be shocked if Kody loses every single relationship in his life and eventually ends up completely alone and by himself because this is the diary of a madman. And I mean, thank goodness the three women have gotten away and some of the kids have gotten away. And now, as much as I dislike Robyn, she needs to get herself and her kids away too. So, what are your thoughts? Is Kody going to go into self destruction mode and destroy everything? Or will he finally come around? Tell me in the comments below. And you guys were getting close to 400,000 subscribers. There's so many of you that watch every video that haven't subscribed yet. Please help me get to 400K and hit that subscribe button on the way out. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and click on the bell so you never miss a video. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, everyone.